Ladies and gentlemen, friends of Agora, this is a new podcast in the series that we're going to have for this entire summer because we have a partner that's decided to work with us for these 3 months. We're going to talk about today about the future of energy. I know. It's not easy to talk about it nowadays. It's complicated. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know where we're heading. But I think since everyone is such an expert nowadays, it's about time we called one that is in charge of an energy company here in Moldova to tell us where everything is headed and how things are going to go. So today we have here Jose Luis Gomez Pascual, the country manager for Premier Energy, our partner for the summer. Hello and welcome to Prepare for Future.
Hello, very happy to be here. And yes, we also are excited to be a sponsor of Agora. And let's see, you're calling me expert. I don't know, but maybe if I compare with other experts, I am a bit more expert.
With the couch experts.
Yeah, in the context, yes, that's right.
Okay, let's begin with our questions. So the first question is, how do you envision the global landscape changing in the coming decades, particularly from fossil fuels to renewable energy?
A big part of the climate change comes from the energy usage that we're doing, the energy production and consumption. So set us some goals to reduce to try to reduce the global temperature, the global warming. So we are on that. There are, let's say, for the Europeans, the important Green Deal of Europe, and then there is the Paris Agreement, and they have set some targets. Mainly, it's, let's say, net zero emissions by 2050.
But it's not really attainable nowadays because of the war, right? Because we had to ramp up the coal burning. Europe had to adjust. And I think I read, 2 days ago, actually the rise in temperature is way more than anyone would have expected because of what happened last year.
No, that's right, and also big countries are not part of the Paris Agreement, and with this situation, yes, it was already a bit deviated, the plan, but with this situation probably it will be more. But nevertheless, I mean, it's a goal, it's a situation that we need all together to overcome, and okay, could be delay, but we have to be on that. There's no other way. We have to use the main two tools, which is the renewable energy and the energy efficiency, to try to reduce the effect of human energy production and consumption on the earth.
That must be a really big challenge for energy company, right? Because for you, energy is energy. It doesn't matter what you burn to make this energy, right? So transitioning from fossil fuels, which is easy, let's call it easy, to renewable, which is hard and really expensive, must be a big decision for any energy company.
It's more difficult for the consumers who have to pay for that. Okay.
You think that's going to be seen in the prices for energy soon?
It's been seen. It's been seen. I mean, if we talk about Moldova, we had tremendous dependence on the fossil fuels. As you know, we are even now sourcing mainly from MGRES, that's gas-fired power plant, Moldaskaya GRES, and then part of it, I mean, we have, I don't know exact figure, maybe 4 point something% of renewables, and the price of renewables is in general a little bit more higher. Let me qualify it. The prices have gone down, and you could say that the installation of 1 megawatt of solar photovoltaic could be as expensive or even a little cheaper than maybe a conventional power plant, thermal, gas turbine power plant. The problem with renewables is that I'm talking about intermittent renewables. We need to cover the gaps. Solar not at night, wind not always there. So we need some backup power or some storage that could contribute to be able to cover the demand.
The 24-hour cycle.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So if you add that, I would say that still the impact, the overall impact is it's not high, but it's there. I mean, there is an increase in price. But okay, coming back to your previous question. Yes, I think the energy companies have to adapt to the new situation. that means that first you have to understand what is happening. Second, you it's not only to react to that, but you need to I would say even lead that. Okay, like for example, with Premier Energy, we are actually building renewable power. Okay, we were only now in distribution, but we decided to go into that for several reasons. Some are, I mean, this is the long term. You cannot be a good energy company. Maybe that sounds a little bit. I don't know.
It makes sense what you're saying.
It's you have to think in the long term, and for the long term, you need to contribute to the transition. Apart from that, there are big business opportunities. I mean, there is a market there. It's all the solutions to reduce emissions are very attractive. They have, even in Moldova, we have this feed-in tariff. It's going to be then some renewable energy tenders and with a price above the let's say the average price. So business opportunities as well. And then the pressure from the environment. No? I'm talking about ESG and corporate responsibility. I mean, you need to put that. If I may be too clear, you need to put that in your
business
annual
plan.
report, business plan, so that. But again, it's giving value to the company. It's not sometimes. Of course, we have to protect the value of the company now. But we need to look at the long term and create new opportunities that could increase the value of the company.
Yeah, because you're not taking away from the company, right? This is an opportunity. I mean, it depends on how you look at it, but at the end of the day, this is an opportunity. It's not like Kodak saying digital photography is bad. No one's going to do that. No, you say this is happening. Every company wants to grow. That's the main goal, right? Every company has to grow. And this is the growth coming to you. So you can embrace it or you can get eaten by it.
No, you're very right. Indeed, I know some companies in the energy sector that when all this started, renewable energy, blah, blah, I'm talking about maybe 97, 98, I mean, then they did not like that. They wanted to, I'm talking about conventional.
Yeah.
And they try to not battle, but say, okay, that's not our business. It is not there. We want to build big power plants, gas fire, or even still coal fire, but not. And at the end time, prove that those that decided again to lead this change, not just to follow it, but to be embarked in this and to be very much engaged. Then they were very much successful. Just opportunities are there. So then they changed their strategy to go into that.
Now we have to catch up.
Okay,
right? That's right. You don't want to catch up.
Yes.
I do a lot of sports.
Yes.
You're a Formula 1 fan. If you are far away from the person in front of you, it's going to take a lot more energy to get to there.
Yeah.
And money.
Or like Fernando Alonso said, I can watch the TV. I mean, Red Bull is up there.
Yeah.
So he's third.
I'm just driving and watching the TV. Because that's what's happening, right? So you want to be that Red Bull leading the way. Otherwise, you might be, no offense, but you might be the Haas. Which might be there, might not. So a part of this renewable is actually a technology that we've had for a while. We tried to do it. We kind of failed at it and we gave up, even though scientists are saying it's actually the best thing we can do is nuclear power plants. I know there's a problem because they're ridiculously expensive, in the billions, right? What is it, 20, 30 billion to build one? Then you have the... everyone's scared of it, right? No one wants a Chernobyl or Fukushima or the one in the US, even though the energy itself is actually really clean. So what do you think is the future of that? Is this going to happen? Are people going to build more of these?
No, I think your question is biased, and my answer is biased as well. I don't know.
It's a podcast. It's not. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, I counted when I was preparing this interview or whatever. I think it's like 32 countries in the world, something like that that are having nuclear power installations, no, to supply electricity, and. You're right, they are very expensive, okay. No doubt there are risks, as we have seen. Nevertheless, they respect the environment. I think it's the second largest method of producing electricity that emits less CO2 after the hydro, of course, and I think that in many countries, I come from Spain, the decision was more political than with some analytical analysis. Indeed, it's expensive, just the installation, all the security measures and so on. But at the same time, it can last many, many years, much more than any other. In the case of my country, the government decided to stop while several power plants were being constructed. And many others. I think in Germany it happened the same. And of course, there were commitments from the developers, and the agreement naturally is that because that was under a strategy of the energy sector, that was it was stopped, and there were loans from the banks to be paid, there were stranded assets to be paid, and so I think we are still, and in many countries, paying in our tariff, each one of us, a little supplement.
Penalty for that.
A penalty because, they have to give these companies a portion to pay the banks, the interest and the principal, because for different reasons the government decided to stop that in an unplanned way. So
basically you're paying for the energy that you never got.
Not the energy, truly. You pay for the assets. I'm just being... yes, but that's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. No, I think we'll come back. It's somehow... I think we are not being effective ignoring that. We are whether microreactors or other, let's say, less dangerous or more controllable setups. But I think can be there. And, for example, with storage, if you have what is called base load production, and if you have some storage, you can accumulate when you have an excess, and then to follow the profile of the day,
put back in the system.
You can inject that back from the store. So it makes a good complement now, given that the storage technology is improving, and the price of nuclear is very low. Very low. I mean, it could go $30 megawatt hour selling price. No,
that's a good argument for the consumer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm personally, as much as I'm afraid of it, I am a proponent for it. I mean, I want us to have fission, but we're a few decades away from that. But if this is a clean energy, let's just say it's a clean energy.
From the emissions point of view, yes.
We just have to learn to build them right. We just have to learn to service them right, and not have politics get involved in it, right? Because if you have engineers doing the best they can, no cost cutting when building it, you will have a proper, everything working kind of power station. It's when you try to cut costs, that's when you get into the high risk territory. So I want people to build more, and I think that it will ensure, first of all, energy independence, right? As Moldova, as a small country, we saw this year how hard it was for us. Even if we weren't the ones that were getting bombed, we had electricity die. We need that independence. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of countries that do the same thing. Mm-hmm. But what do you think? What do you know or think about fission, though?
No, I'm not. I'm more in operations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading that. I'm following that. It seems that there has been important, as you know, recently progress on that. Somehow, to commercial operation in, let's say, large scale, it's a little bit far away. I still somehow think that green hydrogen is nearer, keep falling prices of renewable, of solar and wind, higher turbines, of course batteries, no storage, that is still pending. I think storage is reaching the level when the prices will go down, given all the push in the world, for higher capacity batteries. But I believe it's still a little. And then, it's nuclear. So I don't know the reaction of the people. They will say, "Come on, how don't we stop using nuclear power? What is this?" So no, that's a different. And
it's the sun, but we have the sun.
It's powerful.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
yeah.
the sun. That's right.
But speaking of storage,
but if we look at 20 years from now, I think so. I think it will be there.
So should we just not build nuclear power plants and wait 20 years? Because that's how long it takes to build one, right?
No, come on. No, I mean, the ones that I know...
the new ones? Yeah.
No, I'm talking, well, they want 20 years, you think? The ones I know from my country, I think 6 years, 7 years. Depend. I mean, they are very big. I mean, it's 5 groups of 1
I've been to 2 of them in the US, and they are just...
yeah, it's impressive.
If you've ever been to New York, that's it. You just look at that thing and you can't imagine how big it is.
And then in the middle of the of the town.
Because where we lived, we could see the nuclear power station, even though it was like 60 kilometers away. That's how big it is. And they shut it down, so we got really upset. But speaking of storage, I know Elon Musk once said, if you give me 100 square miles in Arizona, I will build enough solar panels and storage to power the entire United States. That's a bold claim. Or do you think that's possible? Just 100 square miles.
Okay, humbly, all I can say is that, but you need some backup power plants. So apart from this, you will need some big nuclear power plant. Okay, no, nuclear is not for balancing, but thermal, conventional power plant to do that.
He likes to say things
like
that.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end, it's more a vision. But the thing is that many people and experts talk about the vision, but he's delivering. He's look, the batteries promotion that we have, that the progress in technology, it's driven by him. It's incredible. I mean, okay, I'm simplifying, I know, by the Chinese, but it's incredible. And whether space technology, whether internet, whether PayPal in the past,
electric cars,
now
Twitter now,
Twitter now, and AI. He's ex-AI, I think, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, he became an anti-AI guy now.
Anti-ChatGPT,
ChatGPT. So, when it comes to governments, the collaboration between commercial and governments, how should this work in order for both sides to be? I mean, the consumer is always our main goal, right? But how should the transition go where both sides are happy about what's going on? My understanding is energy companies would need help from the government to do all this transition, right?
Well, if we call help just having clear incentives, clear path, goals, kind of respect to the commitments, clear regulatory and legal framework, and reducing all the permitting and facilitated, or I would say not obstacle. No, I think private sector can be there. I mean, and will be there as long as all these conditions are there. Mainly targets and clear legal framework. And of course, in the legal framework, a reasonable profitability. So I think that's the main thing, no? Respect for the rule of law, that's very important. But
yeah, you need to be able to do long-term planning, right? Because if you spend a lot of money from your company, you want to know that eventually you're going to take them back, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But so basically is...
I try to say that when I say the
I know.
Legal framework, long-term. Okay.
You see, people think that if a company has money, then it has unlimited money. And if you evaluate it at whatever many billions, then you actually have that cash somewhere under your mattress and you're just sitting on it, don't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. That's why we're trying to educate people to understand how it's a constant invest, reinvest, and taking risks. And it's people like you that have to take these risks, right? Because you're the boss. You have to decide where it's going.
Well, I'm the boss. I'm just hired by the bosses, by the shareholders. I'm not owner. I'm a professional. But and yes, we propose what we think that will create value to the company, to the shareholders.
Okay. Next question, we should go about how would we maximize efficiency, the energy efficiency, especially between residential and industrial buildings, because that's one of the main problems of energy sector, right? You lose a lot of it on the way to the consumer. How do we improve that?
Okay, let's say the broad term of energy efficiency could say first, be efficient, substitute those, I'm talking maybe now about transportation. I will go back to residential and industrial, but okay, also in industrial, no? Change and shift from fossil fuels to electricity. Okay. Yes, electricity, if it's produced by fossil fuels, probably you don't win a lot, but if it's produced at least partially from renewable energies, yes, you are collaborating. So this shift of fuels, that's important. Second, what is called the electricity intensity. Okay, so consume less, for example, with electric appliances. I mean, try to use the programs that are existing, or you don't need a government program, but to subsidize, but buy A-quality, A-type fridges and washing machine and dishwashers. So this reducing the intensity of electricity input to produce a certain output, whether in houses and industries, it's key. And then yes, if we are specific, that what I said is very valid for industry and for transportation. No? For houses, that's more difficult. I mean, the buildings that we are in maybe will last another 30, 40, 50 years. So you can only change things, no? Retrofit, change the windows and make some incremental initiatives. Though some of them could bring important savings if you have let's say, proper isolation, no? Yeah. of the facade of the building. You could save 30% of the heat that you don't lose. So then, I mean, we have all this domotica, no? If you are able, and it's already there,
yeah,
of course. But the Internet of Things, to try to be very accurate in what you consume, no? Go to what is called the sufficiency principle. Just if we can do it with 2 lights, why do we need 3 lights? Yeah. I am nagging my colleagues in the office, because if I see a window and sun, and I go to the office of someone and I see that, well, there is light enough, and I mean, not just
we are an energy company, but let's not waste energy.
And then I switch it off if I think it's permanent, not just the cloud is moved away, no. But yes, I mean, in general, I would say, well, for industries is some of them are more complicated. Refineries, cement industry, iron, steel. That is another. Is different approach there, that you have to go into this capture of carbon and try to store it, or other capture emissions in the air.
Burning the trash to do the same thing.
Yes. So, but I mean, there are already, some of them are still a little costly, but no doubt it's already going down. So maybe in the next 7 years, the prices of solutions like capturing CO2 is 30% lower. We have not talked about green hydrogen, which still is, let's say, not testing. There are projects, many projects, but I would say it's still not in a massive scale. Infrastructure have to be adapted.
Because you have to have the production right there, right? Storage, production.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. That's the problem with hydrogen. Okay. It's heavy, and you have to have the storage right there.
Okay, I'm talking about green hydrogen.
Okay.
And no, the storage is there. I mean, the hydrogen that we use, that's right. It's there, and you don't use, but you don't use the gas pipelines. But there are already projects and realities that the gas pipelines have been adapted, so that you can transit the gas in the hydrogen. Well, it's a gas.
Yeah.
The hydrogen in the methane pipelines. There has to be some changes in the bulbs, in some elements, because of the density of the molecule. It's much smaller, the hydrogen than the carbon. But and then you have the ships, and you have the same technology of liquefied natural gas, liquefied natural hydrogen. So all this is going to be replicated. Some of this infrastructure could be adapted with not a major cost. Some others not, like the big ships. The pressure level of the hydrogen is much higher than the gas.
I think they already have one of those big ships. Is it Maersk or someone? They have a full hydrogen ship.
Probably could be. Yes.
That must be a very expensive toy.
Yes. And they cannot use the other one.
Yeah. When it comes to this energy efficiency, I know Las Vegas did a cool thing. Maybe you've heard of it. They didn't know what to do with all this wasted energy, right? That goes during transportation. So you're
talking about heat, electricity, sorry?
Electricity. Okay. I might be wrong. It's been a few years, but my understanding is they convinced residential areas to let them put solar panels on their roof for free in order to have, whenever they're transporting energy, to have the bump from house to house from the actual solar panels. So you always have this flow of, let's say, 100% energy in the cables. Would that be an option for many cities in the world in the future? Because we're always going to lose energy when transporting it, right? Electricity, I mean.
No, you are right. The flow of energy produces some heat and the transformation. So you always have what is called technical losses. That's intrinsic. You cannot avoid it. And if you have distributed generation, yes, you will produce and you will self-consume and maybe inject in the grid your excedent, and that will reduce the energy losses. That's right. At the same time, it's more complex, because if I produce, and it's happening already in some sites in Moldova, if I produce, I have my panels, net metering scheme, self-consume, and then I put the excess on my neighbor and the other, and then all of us generate more power than the sector consumes. Mm-hmm. So it goes up from low voltage to medium voltage, and then you start to have problems, because like the water, for the energy to move, there has to be a differential, and so that is to go not from the medium voltage but to the low voltage.
Okay.
To the low voltage, to the transformer, the concentration of generation increases the voltage level, so basically, it's not it's a system, the electricity, that it's a distribution, not just generation. It's complex. It's full of magic things. I'm not engineer.
Yeah.
But still, when I talk with the people who really know, then you get, oh my God, how can this be? Wow, who invented that is a genius. And
they're excited about it?
Yes. And these things happen. I mean, it's a system that is moving, and it's alive. So you could apparently make a thing that why would the system notice that? But yes, it's noticed. I generate, there is sun, and you can increase the level of voltage to 170, to 160, and that it could create some automatic disconnections, and then even if someone is not protected, it could protect it with some automatics or differential. Could create some appliances burning. So it's a complex thing.
Must be really exciting to be an engineer right now, right? Because you see all these new gadgets come out every day and new practices. But a thing that is of a big concern, especially for Moldova, is we're slowly transitioning to electric vehicles, right? Which puts a lot of pressure on the grid. You have, let's say, I think it's like a few % of cars in Moldova are electric. I imagine if all of a sudden we had, all of us, electric vehicles and plug them in, the power would just go boop, right? Because that is a concern a lot of people have. Like, okay, we're buying electric vehicles, we think we're cool, we're saving the environment, but the grid is not ready for that amount of consumption. What's what are companies doing to get in with have the same pace for that?
Okay, what you're saying is
I'm also might be saying some wrong stuff because I don't know anything about it.
I'm just kind of qualified it. I would say yes in general. I mean, every time the network is not designed for that. And yes, if you concentrate some EV chargers in a closed space, or you want to install a fast charger that in 2 hours it refills your battery, then that's right. You need to. There has to be in any case a technical study, and the network will maybe has to be reinforced at the section level of the wire, because this wire is for your house. It cannot hold.
You need thick 380 volts or whatever those wires are.
And also the capacity, no?
Will the grid withstand it though?
Depends on
giant pull from cars.
The grid as of now is standing, is supporting that. But yes, that would happen. That's but because it was not designed for that. Okay, so it happened the same this past winter. In case that the CHPs, not Z1, Z2, they don't have fuel to produce, and we all in Chisinau have to move to electricity heating in the winter. How is the network prepared for that? Say, well, the network is not prepared for that because it was not designed for that. If you load all this power in the electricity network, transformers will burn, low voltage lines will burn, so it's not prepared. In general, though, coming back, there is another issue here. Okay, so I have a fast charger. I put it in my house. I changed my internal network, and I changed the cable, the wire to my pansaminte. I don't know how to say it in English. The connection point, the box, the meter. Okay, and then so the distribution operator, for example, has to make an investment to reinforce the load, or maybe repower the transformer. That goes into the tariff. That we pay, all of us pay a little part of this, and it's because I am entitled to that, legitimately entitled. I request, and distribution has to do it in some cases, if it's the medium voltage network, repowering. That may cost maybe 300,000 lei, this, or maybe 500,000 lei, maybe less. So there is economic value, economic point of that. I mean, the decision is not, come on, repower, change the wire, change the transformer, that's it, this is the future, we have to go into energy transition. No, there are some, and it's that was maybe at the beginning, now it's maturing, and you have, for example, for some more, let's say, actual example, solar panels. It happens the same. Solar panels, they maybe you don't consume and you inject on the network a big amount. So, and then they ask, okay, I want to or connect this capacity. No, sir, we don't have the connection, the wire, the transformer, or Mold Electrica. I mean, so there are constraints in the network.
So basically, if you want to,
I finish.
Yeah.
Are you going to invest, let's say, 2 million lei that all of us pay to be able to cope with the peak production of this solar panel in July, August, for 4 or 5 hours, 11 to 4, 12 to 12, and make this investment that in relative terms is very expensive because it's only, let's say, 4 months a year, 4 hours during this period. So there are solutions for that in terms of, okay, it's not efficient, economically efficient, so you go into, it's called curtailment. Okay, so you don't produce, you get compensated somehow, but you don't produce. So it's not so simple for new areas that are going to be, that are being developed in new sectors. The design of the network has to change, not only because of that, but also all the climate change and the weather changing conditions. But for the existing one, we have to cope with that. Indeed, one good solution that is there is going to be in the law 10 that is being now under amendments is versus the net metering, which is self-consumed, but I have it in my rooftop, is this called net billing. One of the advantages, and there are other for the consumer point of view, prosumer disadvantage, but one advantage is that I can locate this power facility anywhere, and the energy flows in the network and it comes to me. So I can locate these facilities, solar PV, in a place where the network is not congested. So.
Oh, okay. So basically, all these people that are now buying in solar panels or electric cars, or even though they think it's going to change their life, if the system is not ready, it's only going to make problems for them at this point, right?
No,
because because we're trying to talk about the future. So I know people who have purchased solar panels and like, well, it's crap. It doesn't work. It's just a waste of money. Like, well, but did you check all the cogs in the system if everything works is fine? You know, did you calculate how much solar you get? How much waste you get? Do you have storage? Do you have this? Like, well, no, I just bought some solar panels. They said it's 3 kilowatts and that's enough for me. Well, it doesn't work. Because it's a complex system, right? It's just like when you switch from gas-powered car to electric car, you have to change your lifestyle. You have to know there's no more this when driving. You have to be very gentle. You have to know that AC wastes energy. You have to know that you have to dim your lights. You have to calculate whenever you go somewhere. Is there a charger nearby?
Yes.
Will I need that charger? You can't just have a company such as yourself come in and say, okay, we're switching to this. No, it doesn't work like that. It's very hard.
You don't have solar panels in your house, right?
No, not yet.
Okay, because yes, you could have some problems if you don't anticipate and talk with us, the conditions of the network and so on. But there are thousands of it's increasing no less in our area that around, in average, maybe the last year or at least 8 months, 100 people, prosumers is called, every month. And yes, some of them now, and I can go into that, have problems, but it's not a miracle. It's not something that, I hope that, yes, I'm going to pray to God that I'm successful. No, I mean, it's you need to do your good things. You need to contract a good fitter, a good installator for your facilities. You need to have a vista recordar, a connection permit from the distribution company, and you have to fulfill it with all the safety measures. In terms of protection, disconnecting from the from the network if there is no power in the commercial network, but it's increasing, and it's already a standard procedure. Okay, sometimes could be some delays, bureaucracy. You need to we need to do this. Andre needs to go and check that everything is in accordance with the vista recordare. Then the authorized electrician, sometimes they blame us, the distribution company, that we are delaying. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not right, but it's true that there is a percentage that due to congestion, the network, as we said, this is the current setup of the network, and it can absorb a certain amount of power in low voltage, middle voltage, and you could have this situation in which you go and check and say, sorry for that, we cannot connect you because there is not enough capacity. The transformer, or usually it's the transformer, us or more the electrical, because the sector is congested. No, but I would say, maybe we have 3 rejections every week, and that's maybe it's 10%. And
that's only temporary, right? It's not a permanent rejection. You just have to upgrade whatever needs to be upgraded.
Okay.
Or no?
It could be temporary until the net billing. when the net billing, as I mentioned before, you can locate not here, but here that is not congested, then the problem for the major part can disappear. On the network, yes, we take notes. I mean, for our business plan for the next year, we note of those works in terms of repowering transformer, changing lines, and I would say most of them that will be adjusted in the next year, the business plan. But let me tell you one thing very important in Moldova. Usually the congestion is theoretical. It's not that actually the transformer is at an
Smoking.
85%. That's right. It is that many people already got the connection permit, and they did not develop the net metering, the power plant, the installation. And so there is a lot of situations like that. Indeed, in the recent years, some limits have been placed. You cannot be 2 years without it. And then in 1 year, you have to present the technical project and so on. But there has been for many years an abuse, I would say, a speculative market of connection permits. And what we are doing now in our case is that thanks to, I would say, some government proposal, below 15 kilowatts, we are not rejecting anything. 15 kilowatts.
That's a lot for a house, right?
Okay, so we are not rejecting if it's theoretical congestion. That is, if we say those are already producing here, this is the consumption, but there is a pipeline. Those are on the list of pending to be installed. But okay, so that we give space, all this space in the network that is not being used, even though it could have been already, let's say, committed. But given the commitment is maybe yes, maybe no, 50% chance or even less. This data is from last year. I don't know situation now. So we give a space, and yes, if all the others that we issue the connection permit come, then we'll have to repower the network. Okay, so it's so you have to mix these three things. A lot of connection permits not effectively implemented. I'm talking about below 50 megawatts. Plus that it is not some areas of the network for a small usage. And third, the net billing is coming in, which partially this problem will disappear. You don't have to put it. You have to put it in your mother's house or whatever. Okay.
Okay. Do you think, getting back to the future, do you think in a decade, let's say, everyone will have solar panels on their house? Is it going to be like a new normal thing,
Okay, it should be. It's the way it is. Many will have. So yes, the network will be reinforced. There will also be accepted this curtailment mechanism. Now you cannot inject. One thing here very important is the storage. Okay, because all the peaking situation in which you are injecting all of us at 1 p.m. in August, power plant.
You have to waste it on something or store it. Yeah,
you store it.
Yeah.
And with this, and that's important. I think I should have said it a few minutes before. But with this, we will be able to, even without changing in a major way the network, we'll be able to cope with all these technologies. And not only that, for the consumer, when we go into hourly prices, or maybe not hourly price, but days on, of peak, valley, peak, and so on, nighttime. Then you could store. You could also benefit from storing when you're not using and injecting at the peak. Indeed, you could. There is a nice game there.
So basically, we would have to store at our own house, and the energy company would have to store it as well, right?
Well,
or should we? What I'm trying to say is, will we get to a point where we all have to be independent, and then the energy company just supplies the transportation, or if we just wait, the energy company will take care of everything?
No, but look, we will store, okay, and the transmission system, the TSO will store. But if we're talking, I was referring to a network constraint. In that case, it's not us, because the problem is in the interconnection or in the flow to the transformer or up. So we cannot store, because it's not the problem has to be solved before the energy is injected in the network. So in that case, it will be in your house an inverter with a battery. It's the technology is available. Indeed, in my country, most of the net meters go already the inverters indeed with a powerful battery. But again, it could be very profitable if you know what are the moments in which you anticipate, which is not difficult in general. It's a more or less standard curve, and you program your battery to release the power at the moments that the price is higher, and then the energy that you have produced previously.
It's like an investment game, right?
Yes. I'm thinking of a neighbor of mine. In Spain, we have installed in our house net billing, and yes, I have this. There are always crazy people, that, and she's following. She knows more than anyone, much more than me. No. Saturday, Sunday, no, but this I'm going to inject.
For 13 minutes, you got to turn it on.
That's right.
Okay. I'm really excited for that. I really want this to happen. I remember in the US, we had, all these Google Nests, all these thermostats that you can have in your house. And I remember when you install it, it says, how about you use electricity for AC and heating at this hour, and you don't at this hour, and this is what your tariff is going to be.
Wonderful.
So I recommend you do this. And even if you don't feel like doing it, you're like, this thing is telling me I'm going to be wasting money if I turn the AC on. Of course, I don't want to turn the AC on. I'm fine. So my question is, for Moldova, when do you think we will have enough upgrades in each house's meter? Is that how it works? Where you could have this information digitally, where Premier Energy would say, turn off the electricity at this time, and you will save money, or inject at this time and you will make money. How far are we from that?
It's a reality in many countries, as you have just explained. Okay, maybe Moldova, there are plans to be there. There are things first from the technical point. Well, technically it works, but there are several options, so we need to see. So we need to probably in the near future, make a pilot on this and then make a cost-benefit analysis. But in the context of today, and the price is very important. The price again with a smart meter, which is called, they have been going down. I remember initially 300, even 500 euro. Now 50 or less than 50 euro per position. The regular digital one, for us it costs 12. So still there is a gap there. But the powerful things that it can give you, as you say, suggestions, possibilities,
money in your case in Spain,
learning how to the profile curve of the consumer for us now that we are in the sector under a balancing mechanism that you need to forecast the consumers, the producers, what are they going to produce per hour, and if the actual energy consumed or delivered is different, you get a penalty, whether you pay for an extra or you receive a lower, if you have an extra lower than what you should have, let's say, like the average price. So there are demand side management. Knowing your core, knowing when you put the washing machine there. So it will come. There are plans for that, and I think that in it takes time. Okay, and
because it's another lifestyle change. You have to be energy efficient in your head. Right?
No, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It all starts there. My new life. It has an important impact. Indeed, I would say energy transition needs all of us the mindset to change, starting from that, and to manage your consumption, to learn to know your consumption patterns and so on. It's important, and So yes, it's going to be the smart meter a very good tool for many things. We talk about controlling your demand. We talk about having much more information, even integrating that in energy management systems, so that you can compare to other in an anonymous way or in a group. You can compare to your same people with the same.
I got on my bill. What you're saying on my bill, it would tell me, how do you compare to your neighbors? And I saw that I'm using a lot more. I'm like, no, I have to fix it.
Okay.
I don't want to be the neighbor that everyone's going to put. You're used to using too much energy.
Oh, that's good.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's a project that indeed the initiative comes from UNDP on kind of testing the behavioral response of different customers. We created segments, and there was a control group. We are not going to do anything. Then there was another group and we identified we send them messages
about their consumption. Mm-hmm.
But some of them was monetary. You are whatever 15 lei more than the average, or in kilowatt hour. And the average results more or less is that those who, and it's consistent. I mean, other tests like that in the world have those that just receive this notification, nagging we call it, on the consumption, whether in kilowatt hour or in monetary, they reduce around 2%. But those that were in monetary terms, I mean, 1 kilowatt hour, how much is that? I don't know. But it's 50 lei. Now it's 25 kilowatt. There was ones with monetary value. They reacted more. I mean, they save. We followed that for several months, and it was consistent. It kept it. But then I don't know. But we have not.
How much did their consumption in percent reduce over time?
No, I'm telling around 2%.
Oh, 2%. 2%.
Okay.
Which, if you take on a national level, is a lot.
Yes, we made this computation. It was megawatt. I mean, it was we even calculated the equivalent to a power plant. This is equivalent to whatever 50 megawatt power plant, solar or conventional. There, but I don't recall the figures. I cannot say. But yes, the thing is that I don't know really if it's consistent. I mean, it kept in the pattern.
So in the US, the company doesn't own the cables that go to your house. Whenever you rent a place, you can just call whatever company in the list and you connect to that company, even though you're already connected to the grid. And then they give you their offers. They tell you when is the best time to use it. There's different offers. So one of them was consistent payment. So you pick $50 a month for the entire year. You never pay more. Or you pay according to your usage. They tell you what time of the day you should and you shouldn't. Or there is I don't care about my usage. So it's pretty much high, but if you go over, they don't tax you for it. It was a little complicated because you're like, I don't know which one I want to do. Yeah. But every month we would get a comparison with our neighbors, with the city, how our city compares to another city. So it's a constant game of who wins. And then when it's this gaming factor, it's really easy because your company is not wasting electricity. We are protecting the planet by not wasting electricity, so everyone wins, right? And it's a game. It's really exciting. I can't wait for this to be a normal thing.
Look, in Moldova, we have since 2015 the legal and corporate setup to go into that. That is, Premier Energy is not one company. It's two. Well, it's three, but it's Premier Energy Distribution, the owner, the one who operates, develops and maintains the network, and then the supply company, Premier Energy. Okay, one is Premier Distribution, the other is Premier Energy blank. Why you say okay? But I cannot select because to offer energy as a product, the service of supply and energy, you need a provider, and there are no providers. Okay, indeed, for a time there was one company that was doing for large customer, because you take to go to the domestic is not so profitable, okay, as to go to the large industrial commercial customers. So there was a company. Now there is also one company, but only for industrial legal persons, some of them, and not. But the thing is that where can we buy energy?
Because we don't produce any.
Ukraine, you can't. Is not secure. I mean, it was on the I think until it from October. It's not safe. That's right. It's not secure. From October, it was closed. Then it's been open on the 12th of April. Then October last year was. And then who knows? So you cannot count on that in general. I mean, just to make offers, because again, if you think I'm going to import this and then you don't import it, you have to you have a penalty, no? Then MGRES is not offering energy only to one company, Energocom, that is now sourcing all the country. From Romania, well, and even Ukraine. Prices, if you could get it, assuming there's no problem with security of supply, then the prices will be, without the transit, $80, $85 megawatt hour. Romania, the prices are also high, 150 in the OPCOM, no? The exchange in for electricity in Romania, 150, 170, depends, of course, if it's valley, if it's big. So, and we are competing with let's say the price of Agora, 66. So the different suppliers in the open market, that is called, they exist. There are like 44 licenses that ANRE or more that ANRE has given to these companies, and even we have one of those. And but they cannot buy competitive energy.
Even if we had this free market, it would be really expensive for the consumer, and they would say, why am I paying so much?
No, why would I change my supplier to pay more? It's my father. Okay, yes.
Well, for
family business.
For the end, how excited are you about the future of energy? In your job and as a consumer as well. How exciting all these changes are for you?
No, it's very interesting. It's an industry that has been maybe not boring, but it has not been made any change until maybe, let's say, 20 years ago in the world. And so, yes, it was kind of like being in a bank before. You put a stamp, and now we don't.
Apple Pay, Google Pay. Yeah.
And now it's with all these things, the role of the distribution company is changing. We are moving from passive networks to active networks. We were managing distributed generation. We will have storage. So also in generation, a lot of possibilities with different technologies, from renewable energy to even balancing power plant. All the areas commercial with this competition that you say, okay, you could win, you could lose, but in the game you find the joy, no? So, and then if we add to that Moldova with the situation now, yes, complicated, but at the same time it's like watching a good Formula One race, or watching a good, or being part of a good basketball game. I mean, you enjoy there because it's things are changing. It's very innovative, and you want to be live in these interesting moments.
Okay, well, I'm really glad you came to my podcast. It was a very interesting conversation. I learned a lot of things, including the fact that even if we wanted liberalization, it's not going to be the best idea for us right now. I can't wait for everything that we discussed about to happen in our lifetime, where you can just, solar, wind, geothermal, whatever, you have energy. So we could focus on other things in life, because this transition is going to make us into another civilization, kind of, right? Long term. You think about, we're becoming advanced. Like, this is where we're going. Just like we're advanced compared to people 2,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine what will happen in 100 years, because the pace of how fast things are changing is incredible. Mm-hmm. I mean, even this. Do you remember 20 years ago you had You had a
the Nokia.
brick phone, and you couldn't do anything than call on it, and you had to type multiple times on the number to put a letter in. And now you yell at Siri for the fact that she doesn't understand you right. Or when we watched Elon Musk send a Tesla to space, I watched it on my phone, how he sends a car to space. This is incredible. In just 20 years. So I'm glad your company is spearheading this. I'm glad you're embracing this change. And again, thank you for deciding to be our commercial partner for this summer.
Thank you for your invitation. I also enjoyed it. And yes, it's very challenging all this. And thank you again. By the way, the questions were very accurate. Very. I like them. It made me thought.
Thank you.
Make me think. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you.